It's shorter than you think. No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of three is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hey everybody, welcome to Blondes and Booze. Appreciate everybody tuning in. As you can see, there's no Brandy. She is still in Texas tonight, and she is going to be investigating a bar this evening. So hopefully I hear from her later. But I do have a co-host tonight. He is not a blonde, and he is not Brandy. However, he has a beard. We have Tex.
Howdy.
So anyway, I appreciate you, Tex, for filling in for Brandy tonight.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
And
I
as
ain't why she can't be on though, because here I am out in the middle of Brown Springs and I'm co-hosting.
Right. Well, I think she's sleeping. She said she was going to get some rest tonight, and then she wasn't going to be investigating anything until after 11 this evening. So, yeah. So
I didn't call her. I'd have woke her up.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. She told me she was going to sleep. So, anyway, I do appreciate you coming out and doing this, helping me, being out out in the field. That's a real trooper there.
You know what? I think it's great being out in the field and being able to go live.
Yeah,
you know?
I do too. Yep, me too. Are you Bigfooting? Are you ghosting tonight, or a little of both?
You know what? We're camping tonight.
Oh, that's cool. That works.
Which this campsite that we're in, we've had activity.
Oh, so wow.
This is where we're in the same campsite that we were last time when me and Pops were live, and something rushed us out of the brush.
Oh, wow.
And
well, actually, he just asked, "Are you at the same spot?"
Yeah, I'm at our regular campsite.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Wow. So, well, I hope if anything rushes you, I hope they do it while we're live. Just saying. That'll make for a good show, won't it?
Yeah, it would. Well, and this campsite it's on one side down yonder. There's about how deep do you think that is, Nick? About down there, about 15 feet. Yeah, it's about 15 feet gully down there. And on this side, right behind me, this is a big old plum thicket.
Okay.
And the plums are getting ripe. This is the first time we've ever been in this area, in this campsite, with ripening plums.
Oh, wow.
It could get very, very interesting.
Yeah, that's a food source, and that's a sweet food source, so that'd be like dessert.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, hopefully you get some action tonight. I want to remind everybody, Monday night, Texas Front Porch with Tex and Brandy, 8 p.m. Central. Tuesday is Van Buren Variety at 7 p.m. Central. Right after that is Beyond BMR with BMR and Tex. And on Wednesday is Jason McLean, Questions Everything. That's 8 p.m. Central. Thursday, you have brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and myself at noon Central. Thursday evening, you have the Blondes and the Booze, 8 p.m. And then right again here on Friday night, you have the Blondes and the Booze. And then on Saturday, 2 p.m. Central, you have Tex and Danielle Diva with Infamous Minds. So don't forget to tune into those. I'm going to go ahead and bring Anita up. Are you good with that, Tex?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm hoping something good's going to happen to him tonight too.
Right.
Well,
That's what I'm
while we're
saying.
talking, yes.
Right. That would make for a great show, Tex. I'm just saying.
Well, usually things kick off down here about 9:30.
Okay.
So that's when the night action usually starts around here.
Well, if you have anything going on and it's time for the end of the show and you feel like staying on, we can just stay on and continue going, and you can turn the camera around like we did last night.
Yeah, we do that.
Dope.
Sounds like a party.
Wow, I know, right?
Yeah, I'm down here. Little Tex, Big Tex, whatever you want to call him, Nicholas from Spaced Out Radio. So
Okay, cool. Very cool. Well, I hope you guys have some good stuff happen. Most definitely. Anita, you are putting on the Alabama Bigfoot Conference, correct?
Oh, yes. Second year.
Okay.
We had a very successful first year. Loved it. Tex will tell you it was great. For a first year, I think I did pretty doggone good.
Good deal. What made you decide to put on a conference? Because you know what? I've done the same thing, and that's a lot of work, a lot of expense.
It's terrible. It's terribly a lot of work. I had a sighting in 1979, and I hid that story for up until about 4 years ago, and I started talking about it, and the people I started talking about it to were people like Ken Gerhard and some of the bigger researchers,
Mm-hmm.
and they kept telling me, you need to go to a conference. You need to go to a conference. So of all the things, of all the places I chose to go to my first conference was Michigan in Ann Arbor. And everybody said, why Michigan? I said, well, had some people there I wanted to meet. Wanted to meet Cliff. And I wanted to meet.
There we go. All right. Good, yeah.
Okay. There were quite a few people there I wanted to meet that were speaking. So
Gotcha.
I chose to go to Ann Arbor and loved it. Loved every minute of it. It was great and had a lot of fun. And the ladies up there in the Michigan group just took me in like I was one of their own. I think they just wanted to hear me talk. So, I think that was it. It was the accent. Hey, everybody come over here and listen to her talk.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
and when I did, then I went to the Texas Bigfoot Conference in Jefferson,
Okay.
and loved that. And that's where I met Tex. And
Very cool.
when I was there, I thought, I can do this. I've done community event planning for years and years, and I can do this. Well, little did I know it was as much work as it is, but
Right.
it was a little different because I'd never flown people in to speak before or anything like that. So that was a little different, but I knew who I wanted to come in to speak. I want to tell you the story about why I chose Cliff Barrettman for my first conference. I am a hospice nurse, and I had a patient that loved to go out with his oxygen at night and sit on the front porch and listen to the Bigfoot call to each other and do wood knocks. And he told me about it, and he saw Bigfoot on the back of my phone case, and he said, "Oh, you love Bigfoot?" I said, "Yes, I do. I love it." And I had a sighting, and we talked about it. He knew I was going to go to the Michigan conference, and he knew Cliff was going to be there. And he said, "Oh, can you get me an autograph or something?" Well, when I got there, I said, I asked Cliff, I said, told him who I was, and I told him the story that, he goes out on the front porch. I didn't tell names because we can't do that. And he said, I said, could I just get a piece of paper with your name on it? And I said, it's just, to David, And he said, I tell you what, I've got something better. He said, let him go back in the conference and come back over here. So I went back over to his table after everybody went back in the conference. And he said, we're going to do a 2-minute video. That's for him. And I thought,
That's cool.
this is so cool. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of person that I want at my conference. And
That's
when I played it for the guy, he cried. And then I got in the car and cried on the way to the next patient. So
wow.
anyway, that's the kind of person I wanted at my conference. And of course, I loved meeting the guys from Texas. And so I said, that's the kind of craziness I want at my conference too, you know.
Right.
Yes, craziness. Anyway, and so we planned that, and I had met Charlie Raymond at that conference in Michigan, and I met Ken, and so I just went ahead and got all those guys too. So, and I got a couple local guys that were just terrific. They did a great job. Trey Hudson and anyway, all that did a great job too. And this year I wanted to do, of course, I wanted to pick some different people. So this year, we are having a great lineup. Tex is one of them. I think he's going to talk about Dog Man and who knows what else.
I don't know what that was.
Anyway, when he gets going, you never know what he's going to talk about.
Right.
And we're going to have Adam Davies, who
Very
is
cool.
just hilarious. Let's see. My mind's blank for a minute.
You know what? I can bring the flyer up. I have it here.
Oh, good, please.
Because I have been promoting it.
Well, I know
Does that help
thank you. Yeah, that's great. Adam Davies and Steve Coles. And I talked to Steve a few nights ago, and he's just really having fun. And he says, I can't wait to be there. He said, I loved meeting you in Texas, and we're going to have a ball. And then a local guy named Greg Ogles, who does a lot of filming and documentaries and things like that. He goes out camps a lot in Bigfoot areas in North Alabama, and he's going to be good too to talk to. Stacy Brown is from Florida. He does a lot of work with skunk ape, which is the version of Bigfoot for those who are kind of new. And we're just going to have a really good time. We didn't get to bring in one group. We had some budget cuts and had to cancel one group, but we're still going to have a great time. And I'm just so excited about everything that's happening. We've got a food truck. I got a food truck today. Yay. For lunch. Nobody has to go anywhere. And we have door prizes, and we have wonderful prizes to bid for. We have a silent auction too.
Awesome.
Silent auction is our way to give back to the community.
Very cool.
It will be the proceeds, all the proceeds that are bid for the silent auction will go to scholarships for students who go to Jacksonville State University in the science program. There's a new curriculum there, and it's forensics. So what do? We gather evidence, and we try to prove the fact that we know, if Bigfoot exists, and try to gather evidence. So this will be a good thing for some. Maybe we have some two students who might be the next Bigfooters.
Right.
Who knows? But it'll be great. We can give back to the community.
Absolutely. So Brandy and I will be there as well. So we're looking forward to this. This will be fun.
I have a little thing that I wanted to bring out and show you. This is a hand-carved wooden cane.
Oh, wow.
Made of cedar. And of course, it's got Bigfoot on it. This is a local craftsman had made this in my area, probably 4 miles from me. And this is the lady's cane. And the lady's cane, see the foot?
Yeah.
Okay. The lady's cane has red toenails.
Oh, very cool.
It's so cool. And there's others too. I brought one more cane I wanted to show y'all.
Absolutely.
This guy does such beautiful craftsmanship. This is an eagle.
Wow.
The eagle. Just
very
beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, it is.
And this is the kind of things that we're going to have. He donated about 6 canes to go in our silent auction.
Fantastic.
We have something to bid on from Australia. That's
Wow.
going to be cool. They sent it all the way from the Australian Yowie Research Group.
Wow.
And
Very cool.
we have I think Lauren Coleman is sending something. We've got a bottle of hot sauce signed by Lyle, monster sauce signed by Lyle Blackburn.
Cool.
Has a lot of different little items and things that people are donating and sending. So I'm real thrilled. We got one guy that called a vendor that called that he's going to be doing bringing woodworking.
Wow.
And he's made some Bigfoot things, that he can display, and he's going to give one of them away, I think.
Yeah. Very
So,
cool. Very cool. That's awesome.
cool.
So to everybody in chat that's listening, if you are in Alabama or anywhere around there, I'm going to post the link for ticket sales, and you guys can get them. There you go. The link is in the chat, and I will continue to post it throughout the evening. So if anybody's in the area and wants to come and see everybody and get in on some of these good items, I recommend it. I'm looking forward to it. So is Brandy.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting new people every year. I want it to continue, and I'm looking forward to. We've got our T-shirts ordered, and Jason McLean was the one that did the artwork for our T-shirt.
Very cool.
Charlie Raymond is the one that always revamps my website for the BigfootConference.com, and he's the one that always revamps that. He made the poster. Poster's awesome, and we have little posters that the speakers can sign, and you can just buy the poster instead of going around and letting them sign it, because it's going to be a lot of work for these guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We also I've made, since doing this, I've made several friends in this world, and there's two other people that are not speaking who both said that they're coming on that Saturday, and one is the cryptid huntress Jessica Jones was going to stop in, and also Bettina Moss.
Oh, okay. Oh, so, wonderful.
So yeah,
I haven't got to meet Bettina.
Yeah,
and I know Ryan Edwards is coming also, cool. And we've got several people that are coming. My dear friend, my partner, Lanita Bryant, is going to be there, and she'll be very active with everything. And I am so thrilled to have her as my Sasquatch sister. Our little group is Southern Sasquatch Sisters. And awesome. We go out when we can and research on a certain piece of property. But and we've had some activity out there. A little activity. We've had wood knocks and several things going on, whistles and whoops, and stone rolling down the hill. So we've had some activity. And what's that thing where you get kind of dizzy and disoriented? What's it called?
Like infrasound or something, where you get
that. I got that the first time I went out. I didn't know. I was so disoriented when I got back to the car. It took a little while. It took a little while. But it was interesting, and my first encounter was quite interesting, and it's been so long ago, but I haven't forgot it. There's no way you can forget something like that.
Oh yeah. Can we backtrack here maybe, and let's talk about your encounter that you said, your first encounter, where you went from, were you a believer? Were you a skeptic, or did you just think Bigfoot, hogwash? Or
well, during that time, it was in the 70s, and if you said you saw or believed in Bigfoot, you were kind of labeled as crazy. So in 1979. This was in the fall. I'm pretty sure it was in the fall. It's been so long ago, but I'm pretty sure it was in the fall, like September or so. We were, a friend and I were out on a date, So I saw Bigfoot on a date.
Wow.
On Mount Cheaha, which is the highest point in Alabama, we were hiking out to Bald Rock, which is a popular spot. And during that time, you had to hike out 2 miles to get there. Now they've got walkways for wheelchairs and such, all the way that 2 miles. But then it was hiking. So while we were going out there, I remember smelling that rotten, decaying smell, just decaying like something dead, but yet it was mossy smelling. And so I remember smelling that, and then we commented to each other about that. And I never tell this guy's name because I promised I never would.
Yeah.
And so out of respect, even though he passed away about 3 years ago, I still don't tell his name. It's just out of respect.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's fair enough. But we got out there, and when we got out there to Bald Rock, we kind of hung around a little bit. It's the middle of the week. It's on Wednesday. I remember that, and it was overcast day. But we got out there, and of course, like most guys in a place where you're alone, he tried to kind of lean me back on the rock and steal a kiss or whatever. And something, I mean, you know, he felt little pebbles and pine cones thrown at him or us. And we both sat up and looked around. And of course, there was nobody out there during the middle of the week. People just didn't come out there in the middle of the week. And so we figured maybe they just rolled down from the top of the rock or something, you know, or whatever. And he tried that again. He tried to lean me back on the rock, and it was bigger pebbles and branches.
Oh, wow.
Twigs and pine cones. And so, you know, we set up, and when we set up, we slid off the rock onto the ledge, about 30 feet drop. And we slid onto the ledge, and we looked out in the field. We thought, well, maybe somebody's throwing it from down off the ledge there. And there was a Bigfoot. And
oh, wow.
It was, to me, it was just a monster at that time. But he wanted, I was saying, let's go. And I was scared to death, but he wanted to stay. He was a news reporter, so he wanted to stay. No, I want to see it. I think, because I know a little bit more now, I'm by far no expert, but I know what I saw. It was brown, reddish brown hair, long hair, long arms, longer than, you know, just than a normal person would be, bipedal, looking at us. It was probably about 5 or 6 feet tall, probably about 50 yards from us. Wow. It wasn't far. It was, that time, it was a field of high grass. And on the edge of that field was a wooded area. And now it's all woods. But it was just standing there looking at us, and not really scared of us, of course. And I was so scared I was in tears almost. And he just wanted to look. But, you know, when I come to think about it, I think there were two. And I think there were two juveniles. Wow. Because I think they were playing with us, you know, and trying to get our attention. They got my attention. I was nearly crying when we got past the door. But to this day, I feel, I don't know how I feel about the encounter. I still don't know how I feel about the encounter. It kind of shakes me still. But now I kind of want to go out and see one 10 feet from me, you know. That's how, when I do, I probably will. I may be passing out on the ground or something, but I still want to, because I'm so interested in them, you know. I don't know. Someone made a good point. I was telling my story up at Michigan at the conference, and someone made a good point and said, well, maybe this person or this thing was trying to protect you from him.
Yeah.
So
Could
I don't
very
know.
well. Yeah.
Could be.
That's interesting. I'm kind of new to the Bigfoot scene just since about 2019, 2020, but and now it's like I want to learn everything I can about them.
I feel when we went out and had our just little sounds and wood knocks as soon as we got out of the car and went down the trail for about 5 steps, that time with Lanita, I just felt a calming peace
Yeah.
to be among them. I
Mhm.
felt excitement because we had heard that, and when we would hear the whistle or whoop, I felt a calming peace. I feel a peace about them. I know that they can be um, dangerous as well,
Mhm.
but I feel a calming peace.
Wow. Wow.
I don't
Tex,
feel a calming peace about other things I've seen, but
right. 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 Tex, can
Yes,
you hear me?
yes, ma'am.
What do you when she says she feels a calming peace, what do you say to that? Because you do hear a lot of negative encounters, but then she has a positive encounter. What do you think?
I think a lot of it is just one. I mean, people you're seeing something that's not supposed to exist, and I think
Right.
it's just how different people deal with it and interpret the encounter itself. Because I know people that saw a dog man run across in front of them on the road, and they were in a car, and it was about 50 yards away, and they're still traumatized by it.
Yeah.
And I know people that have had up close encounters that it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it
Right.
is. It's not. It's not traumatizing for them. So
Yeah.
it's just, I think it's, and I kind of, I have to wonder if it says something about the type of person you are,
Could
because
be.
if you're scared that, I don't know. I just it makes me wonder sometimes that if you have bad intent or if you're not living, like you should or whatever, maybe you give out bad vibes and you get them back. I don't know.
Yeah.
that's a possibility. I mean, I think what you're feeling, these Bigfoot or dogmen or you know animal. I mean, dogs know what you're feeling because
Hmm.
they know whether you're scared of them and whatever. Because I know when I would do hospice, I'd have dog in just about every house or yard, and they always took to me
Yeah.
because I wasn't scared of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of dog it was, out yard dog or inside dog or what. They weren't scared of me
Yeah.
because I
Yeah. That
wasn't
could be.
scared of them.
And Kristen,
Yeah.
horses. You straddle a horse, and if you're scared of the horse, he knows right. He knows right off the bat.
Absolutely.
They pick
Absolutely.
it up. They pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. They do. There's a question here for you, Anita. Let me find it because it kind of pertains right now. Um, Facebook user, I'm sorry, Facebook user, I can't see what your name is. But they say, I certainly believe they exist, but what are they really? Elusive, cryptid, or possibly from another planet? Alien certainly explains why one has never been captured. What do you guys feel, both of you?
I don't feel like they're aliens. I feel like they're just a species that we're just now really discovering.
Hmm.
And over the last 30 years or so, we're just really learning about this species because we discover new species all the time.
Yeah.
And I think this is one that would rather stay away from us for sure, because
Yeah.
that's why they're so elusive. But I don't think they were beamed down from space or anything like that. I respect people who do think that. I respect
Yeah.
people and I respect their
Sure.
opinions, and I'm open to listening to those. I just don't feel like that myself.
Right. Right. Absolutely. That's kind of how I am. I have my beliefs, but I've heard so many different stories, and I have friends, including Tex, believes they're more on the flesh and blood side. However, um, like when I was at the Land Between the Lakes the first time, we seen something peering out from behind trees, but then we started seeing orbs. So it kind of made me go, what is this? Or where do they come from? So I don't know. I think just, everybody has a different opinion. However, it's what they encountered, it's what their encounter was.
You know, I think they have been captured. I think they have been killed. I think there's a body on the slab, several of them. But we're not privy to the information that they found out.
I would agree.
I think we're dealing with a lot more than just one phenomenon. And he's trying to shove it into the Bigfoot box. I don't know why these other entities, energies, or whatever you want to call them, are either attracted to these Bigfoot, or the Bigfoot is attracted to them, or maybe they're attracted to the same energy the land is putting out, like ley lines and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because I mean, if you look at just called normal animals, they'll use the magnetic poles and such to navigate, So why wouldn't, and when we always hear about them traveling the waterways, traveling the, the right of ways that they cut for these power lines and stuff like that. Well, what's all that stuff got in common? I mean, it's a source of energy.
Right.
So that very well could be the link.
Right.
I can't say that they're anything other than flesh and blood, because I haven't experienced that enough to make a jump.
Yeah.
If I do, I'll be the first one waving my woo flag loud and proud.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take you to the Land Between the Lakes, Tex. You might change your mind after that.
Well, I can't believe there's something not psychic or something about them, because of being infrasounded when I was, and that's got to be something there, some connection there. I would love to know more about like corals and things like that, because I don't know anything about any of that stuff.
Yeah, me either. But I'm learning.
I am too. I'm
talking to people, and I've always been open-minded, so I'm open to listen to anything, and why you believe this way or why you believe that way. Absolutely.
I'm very very spiritual, and I have always had spiritual encounters, and so that makes a big difference in my life. I know when I was 5 years old, I would see my guardian angel standing in the room, and I would tell my mother, or I'd say, Mama, looky, there's Jesus standing over in the corner, But of course, she'd say, nobody's in the room but us, honey, and I'd say, but there's somebody there. And so I know it had to be my guardian angel, because everybody has one, I think, and I think that I was just attuned to that as a child. But I have seen things since then that make me believe in demons and angels.
Sure. Sure, absolutely. Real quick, Tex, War Criminal 7 says we have to get you to the LBL.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Yeah. It's definitely a different kind of place. And have you either one of you, Anita or Tex, seen orbs or anything like that while out, and having Bigfoot activity or Dogman activity or anything?
Go ahead, Tex.
You know what? I've seen one thing that may have been an orb, but it was experienced. The same thing was experienced in the same place by somebody I brought out here with me one time. But it looked like just a red pin light. I thought it was I was looking through, it was in a tree line, and I thought it was like I was seeing a plane way off in the distance on the horizon. But when I got up to check it out, the light was between me and a tree.
Wow.
But it looked like a laser pointer is what it looked like. And then it happened several months later when I brought somebody else out here in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can call that an orb or not, but it's light in the woods.
Was something,
Now,
some kind of weirdness.
Yeah, it was. When I was a little girl, I grew up playing in the woods, and I would see little lights all over the place. I guess you would call them orbs. I think we had Bigfoot then around our home, but I would see little lights in the woods, and something always guided me home.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. And, you know, and here's the thing too, a lot of these encounters, for instance, Randy's and myself, when we were at the LBL and saw the orbs, you know, the LBL is also, it's a gigantic cemetery. There's 237 cemeteries there. So who's to say it wasn't a ghost, you know, also? I don't know, it's just food for thought, just things that run through my mind, you know?
Well, and that's the same issue I run into out here.
Yeah.
You know, especially up in the cemetery, and that campsite that I had that saw that lighted is just basically right across the road from you know, the cemetery. So in this one we're at now, we're 4 miles away from the cemetery. So and we did that on purpose. That's by design, because we were trying to see if we could get out of that paranormal bubble.
Sure.
Seem to be around the close proximity of the cemetery.
Yeah.
And it seems to have worked, because we're not getting as much paranormal stuff here. In fact, I don't know of any. But we've had some what I think is definitely physical things, you know, come up within what?
Yeah.
15 foot of camp. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, you just never know, you know. You just never know for sure. Terry, our friend Terry asked, she said, sorry getting here late. Is Tex at the LBL? He's actually at Brown Springs, Terry, is where he's at.
Now, what is the LBL?
Land Between the Lakes.
I got you. I know. I've heard of you guys speak of it before, but
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a crazy place. You know, there's a lot of stories there too of you know, negative type encounters with dogmen and Bigfoot. You know, there's a alleged 1982 killing. There's a 2007 bow hunter killing, and there's so many missing people. And Martin Groves had his encounter in, I believe, 1993. And you know, it's just a lot of bad encounters. You don't ever hear of anything positive coming out of the LBL when it has to do with, you know, Bigfoot or dogman type creatures. Yeah. So I don't know. It's crazy stuff. Have you ever had any UFO type encounters or anything like that?
I haven't. That I can remember now. I'm sure I would remember it if I did. I've had, like I said, just angels and demons and Bigfoot and little things like that. But no UFO encounters. I was just thinking about that the other night. I was thinking I need to watch the skies more.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my problem. I forget to look up when I'm out there doing things like that. I never. I'm so focused on my surroundings, you know, it's just, and we say that every time we go, like, oh man, we forgot to look up. So, no telling, things could be going on above us too, you know?
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. Tex, have you ever, I know you've had several encounters with the cryptids. Did you notice any like UFOs or anything right after, right before, anything?
No, you know, the only thing like that I've ever had happen is that time loss incident that I had out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. I've been, you know, Jessica remote viewed it. says that me and Dee were abducted. And I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff in that encounter that
Yeah.
we can explain. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't, and I'll be flat out bluntly, I don't want to be one of those guys. I don't.
Mhm.
I don't. You know, I'm good with the cryptids, and I don't mind, you know, hanging out with the spirits or whatever they are, or, you know, wrestling around with the dirty ones. That's if I went my whole life and never saw a UFO, I'd be perfectly happy.
Yeah. I know UFO scares me too. It seriously, it does, because I guess it's the thought of like being abducted and you know, it's, you know, you have no choice in that, you know?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that, you know, the only thing that helps me get my mind wrapped around that and be okay with that whole time loss thing is, from what Jessica said, I put up a fight. I'm good with that. I didn't go down without a fight. I'm good with that.
Wow. Well,
So,
there you go. There you go.
I mean, they supposedly
Hmm.
got what they wanted, but you know, I came away with the Golden Probe Award, I guess. But
Oh,
I'm good. I'm good if that don't happen again. You know,
yeah. Oh
if
no.
I hope if I do have an encounter like that, if it happens again or something, I hope I can remember it, and
Yeah.
because I got a lot of questions.
Right.
I don't know. You might not want to remember that.
That's true. I agree with Anita. I'm not
I
sure you'd
wouldn't
want
want
to
to.
remember.
Well, people say that about the cryptid and the ghost encounters too. You know, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't like not knowing what happened.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. It's scary stuff. It really is.
You know. I mean, if you're gonna probe me, at least buy me dinner first. You know. Sure.
That's funny. Anita, you mentioned demons. What kind of
Oh
encounters
God.
have you had with? If you'd like to talk about it, you don't have
Oh,
to.
I will. I'll talk about it
Okay.
because it's healing.
See,
It's still, you
hey,
know,
I'm gonna jump in and interrupt you here real quick, Anita,
sure.
Yeah.
because I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell a tale out of school real quick.
Okay.
Because me and Anita talk almost daily,
Uh huh.
and especially with this whole, you know, getting the conference together and everything. But she has been chomping at the bit to talk to you about this, Krista.
Well, I want to talk to her about it. It's right up my alley.
Y'all,
Well, I'm gonna start with I was about 16
Hmm.
or 17, and I had a school report, and every one of the subjects that we had to choose from this English teacher for this little report was something from um, paranormal, uh, um, tarot cards, or whatever, all the way down. You know, all these subjects
Sure.
that witchcraft, whatever. And
Hmm.
the last one that was on there was the one I had to have, which was palmistry
Hmm.
and or palm reading.
Right.
And I did that report. I found a book of all places at my grandmother's in her library that had this whole astrology book that had this whole section in the back about palmistry. And so my whole report was from that book.
Wow.
And I started saying, you know, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I could actually read palms. And so this naive 16, 17-year-old, I started looking at hands and looking at my own hand and looking at others' hands.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I didn't realize the power in something like this and
Sure.
messing where you shouldn't be messing
Sure.
because it can get dark in a hurry.
Hmm.
And I did this for probably several months. And everybody at school, of course, they'd pay me to read their palm. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, well, cool. Always wanted to be popular, but and this is fun because And then I started thinking, excuse me, that maybe I can start casting some spells. So I getting a little bit more into this, um, this kind of thing here, and it became a little darker each step I took,
Wow.
and so sorry, allergies,
No, you're okay.
and then it got to I started hearing things,
Mm-hmm.
hearing voices. And we were in an old house. I mean, that's where we lived, an old 2-story house, and it was old family house, an old dog trot house,
Mm-hmm.
if anybody realizes what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And we one night when all the lights were out, I got to a point where I felt like I was pretty proficient in the palm reading. The spells is just something I thought was fun,
Mm-hmm.
but one night when everything was dark, everybody was asleep. My bedroom led out to the dining room, and I heard something in the dining room, and I walked out, and everything was dark, and there was a green mist dancing on the dining room table, and it said, "I've got you now."
Oh, wow.
And it scared the pee out of me
Yeah.
because I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do because it scared me so badly. And I know it was a demon.
Mm-hmm.
I know very well it was. I know, of course, demons come in different forms and different
You
figures, and they may look beautiful one time, and next time they may be ugly. But this one was a green mist dancing on the table
Mm-hmm.
because it had legs, and it scared me to death. So I quit doing all of that
Mm-hmm.
from then on.
So
And
when you started doing that, did you do any like protection exercises first, or did you just
I
jump?
didn't know to do that,
Right.
and that's why I said you don't mess where you shouldn't mess unless you know what you're doing,
Agreed. Yes.
because I didn't know what I was doing. I was naive 16, 17-year-old, and I think I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
and it was something I shouldn't have been doing because I didn't know to do protection and things like that. So I know that I do know one thing about it. I did learn one thing about it. I'm a very rare person because I'm going to show you my hand has a line all the way across, and very few people have that. It's all
I see that.
everybody's is broken. It says only a few
I'm
people in the
looking.
world.
Mine's broke.
Which
Yeah.
hand?
Everybody, but
Which
this is straight across.
which
Wow.
hand do you look at when you read palms?
What do I
Which,
look at?
which hand do you look at when you're reading palms?
I usually did the right.
Mm-hmm.
I just wondered if it made a difference if the person was right or left-handed.
It might. It might. I don't think that book told anything about which hand, but
Yeah.
everybody loved it, and I think I got pretty good at it. Unfortunately, that's power that you have to learn how to harness. It's broken right in the middle.
Yep. Mine is too.
Very few people have the line straight across, but
Wow.
all the way across there. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I'm a rare person, but I know one thing: that kind of power became dark in a hurry, and it scared me. It really scared
Yeah.
me.
Sure.
I would love to go on some paranormal investigations and um, try to see, with people who know what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and see, if that can, if I can do that.
Yeah. I'm sure you can. And here's the thing, and we got to go to break here in another minute or so. So I don't want to go too deep into it. We can talk about it when we come back. But there's ways to do that where you protect yourself. I think you just jumped into it. And yeah, if you're not protected, you're opening yourself up to anything and everything, and you do become a target.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Absolutely. And when you said, like the casting of spells and things like that, my belief in any of that kind of stuff, if you do it for the right reasons and not self-gain, I think it's okay. Any type of readings or anything like that. But if someone's wanting to know, try to hone in and see what the lottery numbers are going to be, I think that's wrong. That's self-gain. But if they're doing it to bring a message and to closure to a loved one or, something like that, I personally don't have a problem with it, because they're doing it to help others. Does that make sense?
Right, it does.
Yeah. So that's just my beliefs. And we can talk more about when we come back. I don't want to get too deep into the demonic until after we come back. But yeah, because I definitely want to hear a lot more. So anyway, let's go ahead and take the break. And then if everybody hang tight for 5 minutes, does a countdown. So don't go anywhere. And then we'll come back and we'll talk more on that kind of stuff if you'd like to. So
Yeah, because I got some questions.
Yeah, go ahead. What's
After
your question? What's that, Tex?
I said I'm going to ask. I got some questions after the break.
Yeah, and also Anita has some questions too that people have been asking. I've been starring, so we will go back and answer the chat's questions also. So
You want to
guys,
talk?
hang tight with us. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We appreciate everybody for sticking around with us on this Friday night. Tex, you having any activity out there yet?
Now, the coyotes just started cooking off, so that's usually the alarm bell.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a good sign.
So what does the coyotes have to do with Bigfoot?
Well, a lot of times, it depends on what school of thought you
Uh-huh.
to, because some people think that they actually use the coyotes. Some people think they hunt the coyotes. Some people think they do both. A lot of people think that, and I tend to agree with this, that they'll let the coyotes, they'll follow a pack and let the coyotes bring something down and then go steal it from them. But because any apex predator, it has to be opportunistic. So the goal for any predator is to save as many calories as it can without
Sure.
they don't expend as many calories to get some meat. It won't do it. So
Yeah.
I mean, why not? That's and of course you got umpteen thousand pigs out here. So, and then just a buttload of deer. And of course we got all the plums, and we got, there's a lot of stuff out here. I think there's a perfect food source out here that they really don't have to work real hard for.
Yeah. Makes it easy for them. Lots of good food there that I'd even eat.
Yeah, but a lot of times when the coyotes cook off, you'll hear that they'll holler while the coyotes are hollering, and they'll try to mimic the coyotes, but a lot of times it comes off, and I still think that's the juveniles just kind of honing their craft.
Yeah.
Because I think they're so daggone smart, these critters, that they'll do their calls on top of other regular animals' calls.
Gotcha.
And communicate that way without really raising any.
Sure.
Because not everybody, 9 out of 10 people, if you're not out here looking for Bigfoot, you haven't, really looked into it. If something sounds a little off, you don't even worry about it, So it's just, people might go, well, that owl sounded kind of weird. Maybe he's sick, maybe he's injured, whatever. That could be the case, but so anyway, that's a long answer to your question.
And too, Bigfoot follow the game trails too. That it's been said that they do. And I would see that would be correct because the game trails will show you, you know, game that they need to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
I think definitely because one of the encounters that I had was me and DDoS and an old boy from where was he from? He was from Europe over somewhere, and then Mr. Glass, and we was all up there in the cemetery, and we did a lot of activity that night, and we spotted a game trail back off the back side of the cemetery, and I had point, and then the two, the old boy from overseas was there, and then Glass, and then D was he was tailing Charlie, and I took a couple of steps towards this big old game trail, and right in front of me, I get whoo,
oh wow.
and all of them heard it, and D's like, "It's time to go." So we turned around and we walked back out. Because the thing about it is, once you get up in that cemetery, it's so dadgum steep and hard to get out that you ain't gonna run, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't
Well,
want
you're
to
not going to outrun one anyway.
Right.
run anyway. But
Yeah.
of course, I don't have to worry about anything because Bumbles bounce, so I can just fall down and I'm gone.
I got a quick question on the Bigfoot subject. So a friend of mine tonight called me, and she's very much a skeptic on the cryptid side, as she was with the ghost side until I brought her to the dark side, and she witnessed several things. But she called tonight, and she's been watching Bigfoot episodes, and actually she's watching now. She just doesn't comment very much. She told me she's going to be watching tonight, but she asked if there's different breeds of Bigfoot. I know there is the dog man and things like that. And I mean, like, so I told her, like, there's like the Gugway and things like that are, a type of Bigfoot. What do you guys think on that?
I think there are. I mean, there's got to be different kinds depending on the part of the country they live in, a part of the world that they live in. Like, different parts in the world, the Yowie Yeti, and other species that, there are other names for them. But here in the United States, they've got to be a little different in different parts of the United States, just like people are.
Right. That's what she was saying. She's been watching a lot of shows and stuff and a lot of videos that people have put out, and they all, some of them are red, some of them are black, some of them are brown, some of them are white, or, are those like different breeds maybe, or,
I think they get their hair changes color. I think, this is just my theory, but the one that I saw out in the field in January about a year ago was I was on nursing run, and I clearly saw a huge one out in the field, but it was dark. It was almost black. The fur was almost black, and I know it wasn't a bear because I could tell what it was. I mean, it was bipedal, and I could tell, but the first one I saw was a younger one or smaller one, and it was reddish brown.
Yeah. Okay.
I
think it depends on age.
I don't think there's any more difference in them than me having gray hair, you having blonde hair, and you having red hair. That's honestly, between. I don't think there's any more difference between them than there is between me and Donnie Cho.
Right. People
look different. Why wouldn't these things look different in different parts of the world?
Right.
Even different regions of the United States. So, and they don't have to be, is Caucasian, black, and Asian, is that a different subspecies of human? No.
Yeah.
We're all the same. So I think when they get down to it, basically they're all the same critter. There's just kinds, different.
Right.
We'll call it. Like the dog, that type of thing, And it's like my first sighting, he was pitch black.
Right.
And slick hair. Well, my second sighting looked like a damn calico cat and was fluffy.
Right.
So,
Right.
Well, you got to remember that none of us are experts on this. we're learning as we go, and we have
Exactly.
theories. We have theories.
Sure. Absolutely.
only
Okay.
thing, honestly, the only thing we can speak to is the experiences that we've had, and
Yeah.
compare to others around the world. That is the key reason right there that we have to be open-minded when somebody gives us their encounter, because just because the Bigfoot that I saw in Texas, wasn't doing somersaults and backflips across the field doesn't mean that the one in Michigan, didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Sure. Yeah, she called right before the show tonight, and I thought, you know what, she's watching, so I figured I'd ask people with a lot more experience with them than I have. So,
If you keep hanging out at LBL and come down here, you're going to have your own. I guarantee you that.
well, I'm looking forward to going to Brown Springs. That's for sure.
I'd love to go there too.
Yeah.
It's
Somebody actually in chat. Let me see if I can find the comment really quick here. Oh, here it is. Brian says, Tex, you should have a Porch Force barbecue, a place where we can all meet and greet. I would contribute and attend. There you go. Do one at Brown Springs.
Well,
Yeah, I like barbecue.
Yeah, me too. I would attend.
well, that works. We're looking at having one in the fall, and it's going to be just a meet and greet down here in Brown Springs. And I'll take people and show them around whatever they want to see. But we were talking about having a fish fry.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But I mean, we could do barbecue too.
Well, you say when, we'll be there.
All right.
Hey, I'll even take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich just to get them go to Brown Springs.
Me too, sister.
That little venture is in the works. So we'll definitely, when it gets closer and we start pulling everything together.
Yeah, gotcha. Totally understand. That'll be cool. So just keep us updated so we can let everybody in chat know too when that's going to happen.
And I'll get to meet all my Texas friends out there.
There you go. So let's go back to demons if you want. If you're okay to talk about that. But besides that encounter, did you when you quit doing the palm readings, did it go away, or did you have to do something, or?
I didn't know, like I said, I was just kind of dumb and didn't know what to do. So it seemed the voices in my head stopped.
Mm-hmm.
That stopped. But I've always been a person who can like feel things and what's the word? Maybe do dreams or visions or whatever of things, and it's always been a kind of a scary thing to be able to do. For instance, my husband died in 2005 of cancer in December 2005. We found out about it in September. We didn't know till then that he had cancer.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Thank you. In February of that year, 2005, I had a reoccurring dream every night in February. Every night.
Mm-hmm.
It was just this is all I remember of the dream is someone would come up and say, "How's your husband?" And I'd say, "He died with a terminal illness."
Mm-hmm.
And that was every night in February.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, this is just a nightmare. This is just something, this is just something,
Yeah.
just something that happened and something I dreamed is silly, you know how you think.
Sure.
And come to find out, he did have a terminal illness, and we found that out. He started having problems in March. So after that, in September, we found out that he had cancer pretty far advanced in lots of places. And so, but this case in point, me dreaming that dream every night in February. And I thought, what's going on here? You think that's
Yeah.
just, you know.
Right.
So
So
I don't know what that means, but I've always been able to have a insight.
mm-hmm. Yep.
About a lot of different things, and you know, dream of somebody and call them the next day, and they're going through something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that happens quite a bit.
Yeah. So do you do protection now when that happens, or?
I do a lot of praying,
Yeah.
and that would be my protection.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Praying over that, and trying to make sure that that's not something that's, because demons can speak to you too, and make you think something as well. So you have to keep on your toes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, you definitely have abilities. I have no doubts about that from everything you've just said. There is a safe way to do all of this, and it's
Hmm.
about intent, and for you it's prayer. So that works for
Hmm.
you, and it the demonic, you're open when you have those dreams, or these things about these people. You're open whether you know that or
Right.
not.
Yeah.
And so you become a target. I always describe it to people as like you have a light bulb on your head, and the more you use it, the brighter it shines.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
dead can see that.
Yes.
you know and as far as you hearing voices, I call things like that roamers. I think that the dead are all around us all the time. So they see your light shining, and they're like, oh well, maybe she can help me with this, or she can help me with that. But you're trying to figure out, and they're trying to figure out how to get your attention. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how far along you are, but I mean, we can talk privately, and I can tell you all kinds of things that you can do, and to make it on your term, and where it's for the good.
Sometime we need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to help you. So, but
But I'm really, I'm thankful. I always considered it kind of a
yeah, yep,
prophetic gift, and always try to use it, for positive, for good, because I would never want to use it for anything negative.
yeah, yeah, yep, for sure. I struggled with this for a long time myself too, because I at the time I was going to, and I'm not knocking religion, so please
Hmm.
don't everybody shoot me and hate me in chat, but I was going to a Baptist church, and they thought that everything was demonic,
Hmm.
from what I've seen, I have to disagree, and talking to the dead was demonic. However, Jesus did it himself. And if you do it for the good, it's not a sin. Again, it goes back to self gain. If you do it for selfish reasons, that's a sin. That's where it becomes something negative. But that's just my 2 cents.
I just try to protect myself with the prayer of protection, and try to make sure that I don't do things recklessly, because that's a lot of times, oh, I want to do like those ghost hunters do on
Yeah.
TV, and someone thinks that, and then all of a sudden they're in the middle of something that they can't handle, because they don't know what to do,
Yeah.
because they're not prepared.
Right. Right. And
So
I
what is
could,
it? Don't do this at home.
right.
You know.
Well, I've been doing the ghost thing for many, many years. And for me, it is about helping people. And, because who are these families, to turn to? They turn to their church, and their church turns them away,
Mhm.
So who else do they have to help them? We don't charge money for it. We don't, we do it because we genuinely want to help them. And, it's as you said earlier, don't jump into anything until you get a little bit of education on it. As you talked about palm reading, and I suggest that too for anybody new with the ghost hunting. It's not all fun and games. For me
Right.
personally, that's where Brandy and I differ. she's down at the Hill. She was down at the Hill House last night. Well, it's known demonic activity there. I'm not going to go looking for demons. I have seen them myself, and I want nothing to do with them. However, if somebody, needs help, I'm there. So for me, it's I try to do it, for that reason only.
Well, I've had demon encounters and angel encounters, and I'd much rather have the angel encounters.
Absolutely. Can you talk about your angel encounters?
Sure.
Hey, y'all.
I've had several. Huh? You say
What's that,
something?
Tex?
Yeah, my phone's about to die.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, this sucks the battery quick.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get off of here. But,
Okay.
we'll let y'all know if anything happens.
Text me later and let me know if anything good is going on.
I will if I'm awake.
Okay.
See y'all later.
Be safe.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Bye.
But I've had several, and one that I remember when I was 19, they started as early as 19. Maybe, like I said, when I was 5, I saw the guardian angel, and
Yeah.
then at 19, I used to drive my dad's little red Datsun truck, and now it's Nissan, by the way, folks. For those,
Right.
yes, I'm old. I remember Datsun.
I remember Datsun.
But and I was close to home, and I saw, and back when I was driving that at 19, you could pick up somebody, and you likely as not you wouldn't get chopped in two or something, chopped in little pieces and wouldn't get killed. So I picked up this lady, and it's 10 or 12 kids, and they all piled in the back of the truck, and I said, "Can I take y'all somewhere?" And so she said, "Sure, yes, thank you so much," And we talked about religious things and spiritual things all the way. And she'd say, "I'll tell you where I'm gonna just drive this way," and she told me which way to drive. And then when we got to this house that had been abandoned for quite a while, it used to be a place where children would transition out of a bad home to or abusive situation to this house, and then go to a foster home.
Okay.
It was that for quite a few years, and then they closed and boarded it up. And it was still a pretty good home, I suppose, but no one had been in it for years. And she said, right here's where we're staying. And the windows were still boarded up. I said, this is where you're staying, And so she thanked me, and she got out of the car, and she prayed over me, and all the kids piled out of the car, and I started to drive off, and I turned around within seconds of letting her out, and there was no one there.
Oh my goodness.
I really believe that I picked up a band of angels.
Wow. That's incredible.
They like disappeared. No one there.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is. And that's happened several times. I stopped, I passed a lady who was pulling at I dropped my son off at his school, and turned to go around the back way to work, and this lady was out pulling at this old Christmas tree, artificial Christmas tree with tinsel on it that someone had thrown out on the curb. And I thought, this lady's parked in the way. She's right in the lane of traffic. She's gonna get hurt. Somebody needs to stop and help her. And then all of a sudden you hear this voice that says, "You're somebody."
Yeah.
And so I turned around and went back and pulled in the driveway close to her, and I said, "Can I help you get that tree, or what are you trying to do?" She said, "My granddaughter and I, we don't have any money. We're trying to just get a little bit of Christmas, and I saw this tree that somebody had thrown out, and and she was in tears, and she just fell on my shoulder, and she said, 'Could you please help me get this in the car?'" And so I was getting it in the car, and we finally shoved it in there and got it in there.
Wow.
And shoved the door too. And I said, we're collecting I was just a few blocks away, and I
Yeah.
said, we're collecting food, canned food, for somebody during the holidays here. Would you? Why don't you come by and I'll give you what we have?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was just going to give her the box, and I said, you can eat a meal while you're there. And she said, oh, I might do that. I might do that. And anyway, and she then on the way, I was following her, and on the way, she broke down, and a guy stopped and helped her get the car started enough to go 1 block to a mechanic. And she pulled in that parking lot, and I turned around, and there was no car and there was no person.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I said, we don't know. There's and I don't mean to get religious on you either, but there's a scripture that says, be kind and do things for the right reason, and be kind to people, for in doing so you could entertain angels unaware. You don't know that you're entertaining angels. So I feel like maybe that was what happened both times.
Absolutely. Wow,
And
that's incredible.
you keep yourself open, and things like that will happen. I think, if you just keep yourself open to these kind of things, you don't know when you're going to be helping someone in a way. And like I said, you may never know. You may never see the results of your kind deed. But I believe those times it was an angel. And there was one other time I saw angels. We had a youth group. I was 19. I guess I was prime that year, but I went with a youth drama and singing group to Oklahoma to a revival thing, and it was a series of revival, and we sang and did drama every night. And so I was singing a solo one night, and I looked in the choir, the upper balcony, and I saw a choir of angels.
Oh, wow.
And nobody else saw it. And my choir director, the lady that was over us, she said, when we got off and we were gone into the hall, we had gone into the hall, she said, what did you see? She said, you saw something. What did you see? And so I told her, I saw the light behind the angels and the angels up there. And she said, I knew you saw something. She said, there was something on your face, a glow. And she said, you saw. I know what you saw now.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. You just don't know. And a lot of people, I don't know why this happens to some people and doesn't happen to other people. I can't explain that. I've always been pretty open to experiences like that. And I never want to stop being open to that.
Yeah, and that's fantastic because you know what? You were chosen. I believe you were chosen to have those encounters. Not everybody has such great encounters like that. And I believe you're a good person, and I think the big man himself sees this. So why not send angels to you?
Well, it's a beautiful experience, and I know I'm starting to write stories and all these stories and all different stories I've had over a lifetime. And different family stories too. I did not know when I started into the Bigfoot community that I have a family legacy of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
My granddad and his brothers and sisters, he has passed away, but they used to live on the side of the mountain that I saw my Bigfoot. I call it my Bigfoot, but they used to live on the side of that mountain. They grew up there.
Yeah.
And he used to tell us the stories of the hairy man. And of course, we didn't even know who Bigfoot was at that time. We didn't know that name. But he used to tell us the stories of the hairy man, and he would tell us when they would be walking and playing outside, him and his twin brother Frank and his little sister Anna would be playing outside, and it would get close to dark, and they would see this two-legged or bipedal, or he said two-legged hairy man, really hairy man. And it would come out and he would come out and go, "Arr!" And that would scare the kids to go home. But I think he was protecting them, getting them home. And he said they would be walking down the trails and they would see the hairy men step out.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
didn't know I had a family legacy of that until
Sure.
I got home from Michigan, and my mom said, hold on just a minute. She was asking me, oh, who'd you see? Who'd you meet? What'd you do? And what'd you learn? And all that stuff. And I was telling her, and she said, wait a minute. You remember your papa used to tell you stories about the hairy man? And I said, yeah. And she said, Bigfoot.
Wow.
And I said, I never thought about it because, like I said, in that day, we didn't even know who Bigfoot was.
Right.
And by the time I got old enough to know, you'd be labeled crazy if you saw Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But my papa used to tell us the stories of the hairy man. He called him the hairy man. So
Wow.
I think it's so cool that
Yeah, I do too.
but all these stories are going to go in my little book someday. And
Let me ask you real quick. War Criminal 7 is my friend and he's in chat. And he had suggested he keeps a journal. Do you keep a journal of all of your encounters? Because I thought that I was like, why didn't I think of this, 15 years ago? So I have been writing things down.
I haven't, but I'm starting to write the stories now.
Yeah.
One of my stories is, and I wish I had kept a journal of this one because I can't find the newspaper article or anything. The story is how I narrowly escaped a serial killer.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because Lenita commented and she said to ask you about that.
Yes. It was 73, 74.
Wow.
And the neighbor had gone down, and that's when your neighbors would go in your barns and stuff, and you didn't worry about them stealing everything. You just knew that if they needed something, they could have it.
Sure.
And so he went down to the shed next to the barn down in the woods and wanted to find some wood, just some old wood, lumber. And he came back and his son went down, and that was kind of odd. And his son came back and said, Miss Hughes, and that was my mom, you need to call the sheriff because there's a dead woman in that shed out there.
Oh my goodness.
And it was in the winter. This woman had been stripped, stripped, raped, and killed.
Wow.
And hogtied, and thrown in our barn.
Oh
and
my God.
oh my gosh, I know. And we were the main road at that time. It's just a small road, but 2-lane road, but it, wasn't even a highway. But we were the main road, and there was a guy who used to stop and ask, ask my dad, and he asked me several times. He'd stop me and talk to me several times.
Yeah.
What's going on? What y'all know about that dead woman out there? Well, about a week or two from then, when they found out who it was that guy.
Wow.
So, then I got to thinking about it, and I said, well, maybe, I'm crazy, but I feel like I'm going to get sick. I feel like I'm going to pass out because this guy could have hit me in the head, pushed me in his car, and I would have been one of his several people that he killed. He had killed another woman or two, and I would have been one of them. So I narrowly escaped the serial killer, and I remember his last name, and I remember what happened. They put him in the institution for the criminally insane, and he died right before he was fixing to go be released, and he died. But I can't find the article. I know it was in our local paper twice. Once when they caught him, they had his picture because that's why we knew who it was.
Yeah.
Dad said, that's that guy that's always stopping here talking to us.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I said, yes, it is. At that time, I really didn't think anything about it. And then, of course, we don't know the danger when we're preteens or teens, and nothing's dangerous to us when we're teens.
Right.
But and then there was a story about he was about to be released and then he died. That story too, but I can't find it in our local paper.
Wow.
I hadn't been able to find it yet. So
No, I don't wish death upon anybody, but if someone's gonna die, that sounds like a perfect time for,
yeah, because we didn't need him out in society. But there was he had gotten her somewhere else. He had her, I guess, in the trunk of his car, a back seat or something. Gone to the local honky tonk, which was right up the road from us, probably a eighth or quarter of a mile from us. The local honky tonk, and it's now a fruit stand and flower stand. It's beautiful now. but he just he killed her and threw her over there. That was the closest place he could get, and down in the woods where he didn't think anybody would see. And it was winter is the reason she didn't decay.
Wow. How sad. How sad.
Yeah, it is. It is, because I know it was at least 2 women he had killed. I think it was 3. And then, he would have killed somebody else.
Yeah, I can't believe they were going to release him.
I don't know why that was, but that was a number of years later. And I remember, when they did that, that's crazy.
Yeah, that absolutely is. Werewolf asked, where was this?
This is in Oxford, Alabama, or Coldwater, Alabama.
Wow.
Coldwater is where I'm from, which is a part of Oxford, Alabama. But and I was hoping that, like I said, we would find an article, dead woman found in Coldwater barn or whatever. And people, we were the local tourist attraction because everybody would come and look at our barn and try to look at it from the road and say, is that barn that woman was found in?
Right. Wow. Yeah,
it was something. And I, like I said, I got real faint and weak in the knees and sick at my stomach, thinking I could have been that person too. I could have been the next person.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. Well, wow. Dang, girl. I think that's why you definitely have angels around you.
I had to have something around me that day because that guy could have, I don't remember if Daddy was in the yard or anybody else was in the yard. It could have been me by myself. I'm not sure.
Sure. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's crazy.
That's one of my stories.
Wow. You definitely have a whole book to write.
Yeah, I do. And I'm trying to get my mother to tell her stories and all. Yeah. So, I think my uncle from Tallahassee, Florida wants to participate as well.
That's awesome. Be like a family book.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be family legacy stories, you know.
That's pretty cool.
It's not like a lot of family legacy stories. It's weird ones.
Right.
Weird and wonderful.
That's right. Quick question, when you had your Bigfoot encounter, as you said, back then it was taboo to talk about that, but it sounds like your family is open-minded. Did you tell your parents or anything like that?
I didn't tell anybody.
Wow.
I didn't tell anybody. The guy that I was with was a local newscaster, and he was very big in this community, in this area, in this district or region. And he said, don't you tell anybody because they'll think I'm cuckoo. I'll never get another job as long as I live. He said, please don't tell anybody. And so I promised him I wouldn't, and I held to it for a long time. Wow. But I was so scared that Bigfoot was going to track me down.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was so scared that they were going to find me because I was probably 10 miles from where he was. He or she was. And I was always scared that they were going to track me down.
Mm-hmm. And, and that brings up a point. I've talked to a lot of people with encounters and Bigfoot or dogmen. They had their encounter and they followed them home, and it could be hundreds of miles away. Have you heard stories like that as well?
I have. And that's why I was so scared. And to this day, I think that if they feel a sense of something that they're interested about you, they might track you home.
Yeah.
If you live in an area, and we live in the beginning of the Appalachian Mountain chain.
Gotcha.
So we're right here at the beginning,
Yeah.
Talladega National Forest and all in that area. So they just travel up and down that. I think depending
Yeah.
on the weather, depending on uh, the time of year, they might migrate up and down that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question here for you. Titan
Mhm.
70 asks, this is when you were talking about your Bigfoot encounter. And the question is, Anita, were you wearing perfume? Maybe it was attracted to it, or maybe just y'all's presence.
I think it's just our presence, even though I don't remember if I was wearing perfume or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Bigfoot are more attracted to women.
Mm-hmm.
I think they, not in a sexual way or anything like that, just
Sure.
attracted, curious, I'll say, more curious about women,
Mhm.
especially. And the first thing that Lanita did when we went out the first time was she said, "Wear your hair down.
Mm-hmm.
Wear your hair down. They like long hair."
Wow.
And I said, "Well, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes perfectly good sense to me."
Wow. Wow. Very cool. Got another question here for you. Be Kind had said, Anita, mine is the same. What does that mean as far as the palm, the line all the way over?
I read up on that at one time, and I can't remember what that means. Just that's very rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare to have the line straight across and not be broken. I'm not sure. It's a certain. There's a name for it.
Yeah.
Um, Samuel or something like that. Anyway, it's just a very rare genetic marking.
Yeah. Wow. Well, very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. Well, we are past the hour and a half mark that we usually go. Real quick, I want to put your flyer back up, and I'm going to I'm going to drop the link again. Anybody in the Alabama or surrounding area, come out and see everybody. This is going to be a good conference,
Yes.
and get to see a little bit of everybody. Come and. I know Blondes and Booze will be there, Tex, and look at all these great people on this flyer. So definitely come see everybody if you're in the area. And honestly, I looked at ticket prices; they're very affordable too. So
Yeah,
I
we
will.
lowered prices this year for the youth and children.
Yeah,
And children, I think it's 6 and under or 5 and under,
yeah,
are free anyway. So
very cool. I am going to share it again, the link, so people can get tickets. And thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed this. I really can't wait to meet you face to face.
it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun. I like to create fun,
Oh yeah, I
and,
can
and
tell. I bet you're going to be a blast.
well, I try to be. Last year I was like a chicken with my head cut off,
I
running around,
understand.
flopping around, trying to get everything done. This year maybe I can be a little more relaxed. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Your work is never done when you put on one of these events. It's never
Right.
done. You
Right.
know, and when I've put some on, it's like, oh man, oh I can sit for 2 minutes, and then you got to get up because something else comes to your mind. You got to do this or
Mhm.
you got to do that. So I
I
understand.
always I always take Monday off because Sunday I'm driving people to the airport back and forth and getting everything finished
Yeah,
and checking out of the hotels and things like that. And
yeah.
then Monday I'm dead to the world.
I understand. Totally understand. Well, definitely, I appreciate you. And don't hang up when we go off camera. I got something I want to ask you. So,
Okay.
um, thank you everybody for tuning in and tune
I'm
in.
gonna blow everybody a kiss, okay? Mwah.
There you go. There you go. And tune in to Text tomorrow at 2 p.m. for Infamous Minds. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.